Okay, we're now going to look at problem PR1-4. So I'm going to share my screen here. Here's what the problem looks like. I'm pulling it up. So this you can find this on Connect on one of your homework problems for chapter one. And what they ask us to do is download this data set and then answer a few different questions associated with it. And they give us some information here, like for instance, gross margin being sales price minus cost, and gross margin percentage being sales price minus cost divided by sales price. We actually learned all of these in our first accounting class together. If you took it here with us in Accounting 111, so we've learned this as gross profit instead of gross margin, but these are using synonymous in this case. And then gross profit percentage instead of gross margin percentage, but synonymous again in this case. So that's what it's asking us to do. What I've done is take all the questions that they've asked of us, and I've just put them into this data set. So if you click on this hyperlink here for the DJI Mavic drone SKU dataset. If you click on that and download the file, this is what you'll get here is this dataset right here. And then I've just taken the questions that come from the problem, put it right here so that we can analyze everything right in a single space. Again, if you've had a video with me before working in Excel, I always like to make a copy. So I'm going to create a copy, move this to the end here. And again, I'm just right clicking, clicking create a copy, and then renaming the tab here. So I'll say modified version one. And then we will go ahead and try to answer these questions. So the first one they want us to do is notify or note the SKU with the highest gross margin. And so we look at the information we have in the data set. We've got SKU, we've got description, sales price, cost. We do not have gross margin. So I'm going to type in gross margin here. And then one other thing that they ask us to calculate, and I can tell just from the information they gave us here about these in terms of these actual calculations that they tell us how to do here, is gross margin percentage or gross profit percentage. So I'm going to do gross margin percentage as well. I'm going to double click on that column to readjust it. Okay, so first thing they want us to do is answer what is the SKU with the highest gross margin. Now, keep in mind, in this particular problem, they ask us to use a few formulas. Like they give us the formula that they want us to use. And so I'm going to stick to those formulas. As I've said in some of the other videos, if you watch them, there are more efficient ways to get at these answers, but I'm going to stick to the formulas they want us to do right now because we're just getting practice with some of the basic functionality of Excel right now. So all right, we need to find the SKU with the highest gross margin. So first thing we need to do is calculate gross margin. All right, so we've done this in a previous video. It's just sales minus our cost. And then once I've got that done, I'm going to double click on the box that was right here, this square that was right down here at the bottom, and that will drag the formula down. It will auto-populate the formula. And the next thing I want to do is calculate gross margin percentage. So I'm going to take my gross margin, equal engages that formula. Gross margin, then divide that, so slash, divide that by our sales price to put it on a comparative level of sales price. So gross margin compared to sales price, and that will give you, that will factor out the idea of size when we do something like that. And so that gives us a decimal point. I'm going to drag that down. And if we wanted to, we can convert this to a percentage. Keep in mind, Connect might want you to just answer with a decimal point. So they may not want you to put in the answer as a percentage. They may want you to put the answer in as a decimal point. Just do whatever the instructions tell you on Connect in terms of how they want the answer formatted. But I'm going to go ahead and convert that to a percentage. And maybe I'm going to take it out one decimal point to kind of see a little bit more information. Okay, so we want the SKU with the highest gross margin. So I'm going to use the max function again. That's what they want us to do. And I need to find the SKU with the highest gross margin. Okay, so here's the gross margin column. I'm going to click here. I'm going to do Command Shift down, and that will highlight the range as long as there's no break there. And then I'm going to end the parentheses. So type parentheses and enter. And that gives me the highest gross margin. And then I just have to match that with the SKU. I'm going to go ahead and type each of these though. So the next one says highest gross margin percentage. I'm going to do the same thing. It's looking for a SKU. So I'm going to do that as a second step. We could do this with a single step if we wanted to, but again, they're not teaching us that yet. And so we're just going to wait. I'm going to say max here, click here. I'm going to push Command Shift down, Shift, and get the parentheses and enter. Then they want the lowest gross margin SKU. So I'm going to type min. I'm going to go gross margin again, highlight my range and the parentheses. And then they want the SKU with the lowest gross margin percentage. Okay, so I'm going to type min again, which is going to be the low function. And again, they tell you what function they want you to use. So you can just refer to the connect problem. Highlight the range here and the parentheses, and that is the lowest one there. So let's match some of these here. And I'm also going to make this a little bit more comparable. I'm going to go here, highlight all those, and I want those to be comma separated. So that makes it a little bit more comparable here. This is a dollar value here, dollar value here. Okay, so let's find 667 here for gross margin. Gross margin 667 is right here. I'm going to take this, copy it, and paste it right here. This is my first answer. Then I'm going to go to the 41%. So I need to find 41% here. Go over, copy that, and paste it. Here's my next answer. And then I'm going to find the $11 under the gross margin. So find $11 right here. I'm going to go over here, copy it, and I'm going to paste that. And then I'm going to find 36.5%. That is this one here. Copy it. I'm going to paste that. Okay, so now I've got my first four answers. I'll push escape to get rid of the copying cell that's going on here. And then I'll go to the next part of the problem. It says, what is the average gross margin of the SKUs offered for sale? Okay, so here we can just answer within the answer column here. I'm going to type average. This is one of the predetermined formulas we have here. And they're wanting to know average gross margin of the SKUs offered for sale. So I'm going to highlight the gross margin range here and push enter. And then the next thing they want us to do is the median. So again, the middle value, I'm going to type median. This is another predetermined formula here. And they want it to be the gross margin of it. So I'm going to highlight all of this. Again, that's my range, and that gives me the middle value here. And now it wants to know the average gross margin percentage for all of gross margin percentages. So I'm going to type average again. So give me the mean here in parentheses. And then the last thing I'm going to do is looks like the median of the gross margin percentage. So type median, parentheses, gross margin percentage here. There we go. And this gives us our answer for each one of these. Just keep in mind whatever sort of format they want when you enter into Connect. Use that format if they want a decimal or they want a percentage. Otherwise, that is this problem. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to end the recording.